name's Keith. My pronouns are he, they. Um, I am a non-binary trans man. I'm bi slash pan. I'm polyamorous. I have dyspraxia. Not to give you like a big shopping list. But yeah. So um, would probably help to give a little bit of an overview of my sort of professional life because it is linked to this. So my first ever job was as a play and youth worker for children with learning disabilities. So part of that was like facilitating like group arts and crafts, also some one-to-one stuff. Um, I then studied a bachelor's of social work. I haven't practiced social work; it wasn't for me. But during that university time, I did two placements. One, uh, the first one was for adults with mental health conditions, and part of that was facilitating like courses and workshops about like how to manage your anxiety, how to manage your anger. I also ran a group specifically for LGBT people with mental health issues. Um, and then my last university placement was in a homeless day centre and shelter. Um, and I was on the health team for the people who were staying in the shelter. So that was like supporting them with their like health concerns, helping their in-house GP surgery run, that sort of thing. Um, And then in 2021, I started working for an LGBT charity. Um, Part of my role is supporting trans young people and their parents and guardians. Um, a lot of so it varies like what I'm doing, but a lot of it does tend to be talking about how to kind of look after yourself with dysphoria. Um, and that was how this sort of workshop came into being because one of the sort of things I discuss in my work is the idea of having like a dysphoria toolbox, like things that you can do when you are feeling dysphoric.
Would you be able to talk a little bit? I know I'm throwing you off a little bit off planned questions,
Sure. Sure.
but would you be able to talk a little bit about there's an obvious impact that dysphoria has on people, but would you be able to talk a little bit about maybe unexpected symptoms of dysphoria or unexpected impacts of dysphoria, ways it might show up in people's life that they almost might not even notice? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Um, the first one that comes to mind, particularly in the context of young people, is neglecting personal hygiene. That might surprise some people, but I have worked with a lot of families where the young person is they're sort of like refusing to shower, refusing to change clothes or underwear, they're not brushing their teeth. Um, that might feel more like it might for the young person, it might seem more obvious, they might be feeling like, oh, I don't want to shower because I have to see my body, but it would almost definitely seem a bit more like the parents will not really understand what's going on. Although, okay, some young people aren't aware of that's why they're not taking care of their personal hygiene. Toilet as well, like so. Um, some of the young people I've worked with, like, will start not going to the toilet, including even if it's like in home or in like a gender neutral toilet. Um, Also, it can kind of just show up a little bit as like anxiety and like depression. I think. Yeah, I think a lot of the trans people again, particularly trans young people or people at the start of their journey, um, they do really struggle with like anxiety about like meeting people, going outside. I mean, where the boundaries of like social anxiety and like generalized anxiety conditions and dysphoria kind of end. It's a blurred line, but yeah, for some people it might be, they're not so much anxious about meeting people or like interacting with people. It's more that they're kind of anxious about how they might be perceived because of their voice. Does that make sense? I kind of waffled a bit.
No, yeah, absolutely. Um, and so could you talk to us a little bit about your workshop you're doing for us, the Toolbox for Dysphoria?
Yeah, absolutely. So, the toolbox for dysphoria, it's going to be, well, it can be a literal toolbox. Well, yeah, like a little box or something that you put stuff in and I'll explain a bit more. Or it can be something, more like a note, a document that you keep on your phone. Um, but basically, it's going to be your sort of, I was going to say like a first aid kit, but I'm not sure that's the right term. But yeah, like the kit that you can bust out if dysphoria is really, messing with you. So it can include things that make you feel like calmer. For some people that might be like a particular like playlist. It could be distraction stuff like your favorite film, your favorite TV programs. It could be like positive sensory stuff. So for some people that might be like something as simple as like a hand cream or like a face mask. Um, Things that give you gender euphoria. So now's the time to like crack out the stereotypical links if you're a trans mask kind of thing. Um, um, some stuff like maybe nice food, tea, chocolate, etc. Um, and also some slightly more practical stuff of like, what maybe who can you talk to if you're feeling, really distressed. Maybe if you're feeling like you might unfortunately want to like harm yourself, for example. And what I will say as well is, although the workshop is like trans focused, and I use trans to include non-binary people, who might not necessarily identify as trans, but yeah. Anyone who's not cis, essentially, even though it's focused on that community and it is trans-led, it can be a good tool for cis people. So it can be a good tool for like the cis partners and parents of trans people because it could be a way to sort of help your loved one. But also as well, it can be adapted for anything really. If you're someone who struggles with, and you're like cis, you're someone who struggles with like anxiety or depression, low mood, etc. Well, just literally anyone can use it if ever they're feeling rough, because we're all going to feel rough at one point in our life. Um, you're welcome to come along too.
Thank you. That's brilliant. And so, do people need to bring anything with them to the workshop?
You don't have to. You can if you want to. If you want to um, make your box whilst I'm doing the workshop, then I'd say bring stuff with you. But if you aren't sure what you'll want to put in your box, or if you just want to um, watch the workshop and think about what you want to put in your box and do it later, then you don't have to bring stuff.
Great. Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
you're welcome.